On June 18th, James Madison signed the Declaration of War.
I have now signed the Declaration of War.
The immediate increasing threat on Upper Canada in August 1812 is in Fort Detroit. Removing this threat is Isaac Brock's first objective.
I have an objective to take Fort Detroit. We don't have a lot of men, but that won't stop me. All of us together are going to bluff the Americans and make them surrender. We will take advantage of the fact that the Americans are terrified of the First Nations. With the help of Tecumseh and his men, we'll take Fort Detroit.
Fort Detroit is an important fort. It is a great place to attack Upper Canada.
I have been entrusted to protect Fort Detroit from the British and First Nations. I am now older and more cautious than I was during the American Revolution, and I don't think we have enough soldiers to keep the enemy away.
My father and brother were killed in the Battle of Tippecanoe. I've hated the Americans. We will help the British destroy them. We will trick them and make them surrender.
Brock's plan is to take the militia and dress them as trained soldiers. They will trick the General Hull and hopefully make him surrender. During this, the First Nations will be going in circles around the forest, so it appears they have triple the amount of soldiers than they actually do.
The circles around the fort will surely trick them into surrendering.
Tecumseh and his men marched ahead and landed south of Fort Detroit. Brock sent a message to General Hull telling him to surrender, but of course Hull didn't and stood his ground. The battle has now begun.
His message to me to surrender does not scare me. We must win this battle and keep Fort Detroit.
Cannon fire started bombarding the fort, putting everyone into a panic. Hull fired back at them, but it had little effect.
My men reported to me a terrifying message. They saw thousands of the First Nation warriors. After the horrors they committed, we have feared them. Seeing this, my men and I panicked. With that many of them, it will be a massacre. I have just been informed that the British Army has over 700 trained professional soldiers.
I wrote to General William Hull telling him to surrender.
I have just received a message from General Isaac Brock, the one leading this invasion against us. He said if we don't surrender, then after we win the battle, I will not have control over what the First Nations will do to you and your army. This absolutely terrified me, and I had no other choice but to surrender.
After 2 hours of cannon fire, I saw General William Hull and his men come out of the fort with a white flag.
Hull was court-martialed for cowardice and neglect of duty for surrendering Fort Detroit and sentenced to death. But because of Hull's service in the American Revolution, President Madison commuted his sentence to just being kicked out of the army.
I am really disappointed in General Hull. If he wasn't such a coward, we would still have Detroit. It is an embarrassment to all of America. They surrendered without shooting a single musket ball, for he would be punished. General Hull. Do it again. You didn't go 3-2-1, so I wasn't ready.
Okay.
Going in circles. Going into the voice.
He just had it for us.